Hi everyone, welcome back to Youth Money Mojo SG. In today's video, I'll be talking about how to generate income as a student. As a student, you might believe that studying is everything. While it is important, there's also many great benefits to working at an early age. So number one, you get to learn more about responsibility. Number two, time management. Number three, teamwork. And number four, financial independence. As a student myself, I understand the challenge of making ends meet and saving for the future. You know, there are times where you want to get something but you can't afford it. That's why I'm here to share some tips on how you can earn extra income during your free time. So before we dive into today's topic, let me tell you guys more about my experience. I started working when I was 14. I helped out a tuition center to give flyers door to door. Afterwards, I transited to selling iPhone cases because iPhone was the hype back then. This allows me to gain experience that was not taught in school. So throughout my life, I actually worked many different part-time jobs, which I'll be sharing later on with you guys. So now let's go into the topic for today. So there are several types of part-time jobs that you can consider. But today I just want to focus on these three main categories: ad hoc, contract, and long-term. So just to give a quick summary, ad hoc jobs are usually short-term or event-based. They provide you with quick cash but also require quick hands, as you really need to be fast to secure those jobs due to limited slots. So number two, we have contract jobs. They usually require longer commitment period, but it allows you to work with your friends because they usually hire more people. Last but not least, long-term. These are jobs in the retail or restaurant market. They provide you a stable income as these are jobs that you can work during your school period as well, usually on the weekend. Now I'll be discussing the pros and cons of each category and how can you source for them. So let us take a look at ad hoc jobs. So ad hoc jobs provide you with quick cash because they are on a short-term basis while having to make long-term commitment. This can be great if you need money fast or if you want to earn some extra cash on the side. Number two is the flexibility to plan. Because ad hoc jobs are usually short-term basis, you do not have to give a long-term commitment. So these jobs are usually based on your availability. This can be helpful if you have other commitments such as school or other part-time work. And number three, the variety of experience. As ad hoc jobs are usually event-based, you get to experience different types of works and events. This helps you to build a range of skills and experience in different industries. This can also help you to network with different types of people and might even lead to future jobs opportunity. However, these are some of the cons to consider. Number one is an unstable source of income. As ad hoc jobs are not guaranteed, it may be difficult to plan your budget around them. You might also find it hard to predict the amount of money you'll be getting in a month. And number two, job uncertainty. As your job is not secured for a long period of time, you do not know if you have work for the next coming few days or even months. And if COVID were to happen again, there will be no jobs at all as there will be no event running. Last but not least, ad hoc jobs are first come first serve. So you have to be fast to secure those jobs. This also means that you might not always get the job that you wanted. So just to summarize, these are the pros and cons of ad hoc jobs. Number one, it provides you quick cash. It offers you flexibility to plan and has a variety of experience. But the cons is an unstable source of income. There's no job certainty and it's usually first come first serve. Now I'll be sharing some of my experience I have with ad hoc jobs. So this is one of my ad hoc jobs experience. Back in 2019, I managed to find a job that paid me $150 for 1 day of shoot. I spent about 6 hours there, but most of the time I was spent waiting because I'm not the main actor, I'm just an extra. So it was quite worth it, not gonna lie. It was for a Panadol commercial. So if you want, you can search for this video on YouTube. I won't be playing the full video, but it was just a short commercial. So if you are interested for this type of jobs, here are some places that you can source. Number one, we have Telegram group. So usually these Telegram groups are quite active. This is not the only one. There's actually many other Telegram groups that you can find which offer this type of ad hoc jobs. Number two, we have an app called STAFFIE. So this app actually provide you F&B ad hoc jobs. So if you are interested, you can just look at the place and just book a shift. And number three, of course, you can just Google it. So now let's move on to the next type of jobs, contract. So contract jobs offer you stability because you are working for a longer period of time. You have a stable source of income during that period. So number two, this type of jobs provide a defined role and responsibility. Because usually you have to sign a contract before you can start your job, usually you already know what to expect when you are working, so you don't have to worry about not knowing what to do. And the next pro is that it allows you to work with friends. Because this type of jobs usually require a lot of manpower, you usually can work with your friends. So you don't have to worry about meeting strangers and being alone when you are working. Now we talk about the cons. So the cons is it requires a significant amount of time from you because you have to commit for a long period of time. So the cons of contract job is that they require a longer commitment period because most of them require you to commit at least 3 months. Not everyone is suitable for this type of jobs. So number two is that contract jobs usually have a fixed working hour. Because they are usually by shift basis, you'll find that your work hours are fixed and there's no flexibility around it. So number three, contract jobs are really boring. Because you are doing the same task every day, after a while you may find bored and you might not have interest in the job anymore. So just to summarize, contract-based jobs provide stability. There's a defined roles and responsibility and allows you to work with your friends. But the con is that there's a significant time commitment. The working hours are fixed and can get boring, especially when you're doing the same task every day. So just to share some of my experience, back in 2017, I worked for a company that was in charge of packing hamper for Chinese New Year. So 2 to 3 weeks before the festive period, I was forced to overtime because they need manpower to help pack the hamper for CNY. It wasn't really pleasant, especially when there are days that you don't want to overtime because maybe you want to go out with your friends or spend time outside of work. And the thing is, it's also very repetitive, so after a while I find it very boring and I got tired of the work. This was just one of my many experiences. There were also times when I was working for another company where I get to actually do different type of things, so at least the job was interesting as I'm not doing the same few things every day. So now I'll be talking about how you can source for this type of jobs. So number one, we have Telegram group again. So there are actually many Telegram group out there that you can use to find jobs. They don't just post one type of jobs. They usually also post ad hoc or contract or even long-term base. So you can look around. Number two, this is from Indeed. So this is just an example of a warehouse assistant job. So you can see that they usually require you to commit, like for this one, 3 days a week. So this is just an example. You can go and find on Google. So I just type contract job Singapore on Google and I managed to find this. So this is just an example which you can use to find contract-based jobs. So now we'll be talking about long-term jobs. So number one, they provide a steady source of income as usually these are jobs that will be holding over a longer period of time. You don't have to keep looking for different jobs. So be sticking with this one job for that whole period. So number two, long-term jobs give you the opportunity to learn and grow. Because you are working for the same company for a longer period of time, this means that you have more opportunity to learn new things that they might not have taught newcomers. And number three, the potential to move up in position and pay. Since you are working for the company for a longer period of time, this means that you have more opportunity to ask for a pay increment, especially when you have a lot of experience working in that company already. So what are the cons of working for a long-term job? The first is there might be stagnant in growth. Even though you work long for the company, you are working as a part-timer, so there's a limit to how much you can learn. There are things that they might not teach you because you are just a part-timer. Hence, there's a stagnant in your growth. Even after you work 2 or 3 years, you might not learn as much as working as a full-timer. And number two, dealing with difficult customer, especially if you are working in retail or F&B. Some customer can be really troublesome, so you have to be ready to deal with that. And number three, peer pressure. Especially if you have really worked for the company for a long period of time, sometimes you might find it hard to say no when they ask if you can work. So just to give a summary for long-term jobs, the pro is that it provides a steady source of income. They give you the opportunity to learn and grow and the potential to move up in position and pay. The con is that it might have stagnant in growth. You have to deal with troublesome customer and there might be peer pressure. So just to share one of my experience, I worked for a place since back in 2018, and during NS I had to stop because of NS obligation. But the thing is, after NS I managed to join back because they recognized me. And the thing about this job is that they allow you to work during weekends. So especially when during school period I can't work during the weekdays, right? I'm able to work during weekends, which help to provide me income even during school. So how can you source for this type of jobs? So there are many examples. Number one, Telegram again. I won't be posting a picture again. Number two, job advertisement outside the restaurant. This is just an example for McDonald's. There's also other restaurants that put their job advertisement outside the restaurant. So maybe you can take a look at those. And number three also is to Google for the job. So you can just type part-time job Singapore. So I actually have friends that work for McDonald's since secondary school. Afterwards, they get promoted to floor manager even though they are working part-time. So this is what I mean by career growth, even when you are working part-time job. So hopefully by now you know about the different type of jobs available for new students. There are also other categories that I'll be covering in the next video. So just to summarize, ad-hoc jobs provide you with quick cash. It allows you flexibility as you don't have to commit for a long period of time. You get to experience different type of industry. The con is that it provides you an unstable source of income as your job is uncertain. You do not know if you will have the job for the next few days or what. These type of jobs are also first come first serve. That means jobs are not guaranteed. So for contract jobs, the pro is that there's a stability because you have worked for that months that you are committing. Number two is a defined role and responsibility. So when you work, you know what you are working. Number three allows you to work with your friends. For the cons, is that it required a significant time commitment. So you have to commit for at least 2 or 3 months depending on the company that you're working with. There's also a fixed working hours so that you might not have flexibility on that. And number three, it can get boring because you are doing a repetitive task. So for long-term job, the pro is that it provides you a steady source of income, especially during school period where you get to work. There's also opportunity to learn and grow, and the potential to move up in position and pay. The con is there might be stagnant in growth as you are working only part-time. You will have to deal with difficult customer and there might be peer pressure from your colleague. I'll be putting the link for the Telegram group and the app STAFFIE in the description box below. So if you are interested, you can go and take a look. Ultimately, the type of jobs you choose depend on your personal circumstances and goals. Are you looking for quick cash or are you looking for a long-term career path? Are you looking for flexibility or stability? Wherever your choice is, remember to always prioritize your academic commitment and maintain a healthy work-life balance. Thanks for tuning in and I'll see you in the next video.